Alrighty, so this is the architecture meeting for August 1st. Just going over some of the work we did on the deploy up side, dealing with the navigation of the data for the detail screens. So some of the things that we did was before we used to have like split boxes. So you would have boxes next door to each other. And what we've done is made it into a fuller list with the different separations. Now, when we work on the Figma for this, it's still up in the air whether we should make like this impact assessment a collapsible tab, that type of thing. So you actually come in and you see it's more like an accordion view. I just don't know how that would play on a mobile device and stuff. So that's one of the things that we have to take a look at when we do the Figma. One of the things that we did do is create the bookmarks so you can jump to the different sections from the top. And that's kind of more aligns with the mobile ability. Normally in a mobile, this would be a hamburger menu that would allow you to jump. And the way we handled the versions was we give you the latest one and then the ability to go select an old one. So that's kind of the stuff that we've been working on the deploy hub side. And I will be working on merging this code back up to Ortelius in like week or two. It takes me a little bit because there's some pretty significant changes that we did, but it'll get there. So that's just one idea for the Figma for what we did on the deploy hub side for the detail screen. So, like I said, so Arvin, go ahead and create the Figma, and I don't know how Figma works. If it's easier to do one Figma with multiple pages. Like, can you do multiple tabs in there? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've used
Uh,
it.
we can create multiple pages in a single workspace.
Okay, cool.
Can you create a GitHub issue and reference all the docs and the images,
Yeah,
so we can keep track of that?
yeah,
And
I
does we
will.
need a landing page before we sign up, like the landing page for the whole website?
What will happen is in our requirements doc, um, one of the things that we said was it's not required to do a sign-on. So we're not going to have a sign-on just to view the public stuff. So like, like in GitHub, you don't have to actually sign in to look at public repos. That's the same approach that we're going to take for the public data. Now, if you want to get into like private data, then we'll have to deal with that could be either handled two ways, where they actually stand up a private instance of Ortelius, and you switch between the two of them, or we do a sign-on at that point to allow you to access the private data. But that's down the road. I don't think it'll affect the initial dashboard design at all at that point.
Okay, then can you create a GitHub issue,
Yeah.
and I will start working on it then.
Okay. And I will assign it to you. And then when you get the Figma created, put the link in the issue so we can find it,
Yeah, I
and
will do
probably
that.
drop it on Discord too.
Yeah. And the screen that you just created, I have to work on top of that. So like, is the design we have to like change?
We don't. I think we should approach it um, from a fresh point of view, instead of taking the existing layouts and the existing stuff that we've already have, and trying to reuse that. I think we should take a fresh point of view and just start from scratch on the design aspect. So I think that's where we should because I think we'll end up with a better navigation and addressing things like mobile as well. Responsive menus. I mean, responsive layouts. Those type of things. I think will come into better play with a fresh start. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I will start from scratch, and I will take reference from other pre-existing designs.
Yeah. And I think in the Figma you can put like comments and stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if we want to in the comments, I think we should say like if you're going to use this widget, like the radar graph widget, just put a link in the comment to saying this is where this widget comes from, and this is kind of like why we're gonna use it. Just give a little justification for that because they'll give just provide some more context.
Yes, I will do that.
So that's kind of the next steps that I had on that front. Um, the other topic is like the CD events piece. Since I've been on holiday, I haven't had a chance to circle back around with that. So that will be probably next week. I'll get my head back into that. And there's a CD events meeting on, I believe, it may be Tuesday. I can't remember. It's a weird schedule because of the summertime breaks that everybody's taking. So that's kind of where we're at. Any questions?
No, I think you have already created some of the user interface issues. Let me share that.
Yeah, let me, yeah,
Uh,
drop it in chat which one it is. I haven't looked at the,
there are a lot. Uh,
yeah,
I posted the link. It will select all the issues related to UI. Can you just ping or like leave a comment which one I have to pick?
yeah, yeah, I don't see one out there. So I'll create a new one and I'll actually create probably two to start with. One for the landing page and one for the details. The
Can you
detail
look at
layout.
issue number 550, 550?
550.
Because you have shared some of the designs there.
550. Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah, so that's one of the detail views, which is some of our existing data. But what I'll do is I'll create a specific um, issue just for the Figma design, so it's easier to find.
Okay, thank you.
And like I said, we'll probably create two issues so we can have the conversations don't run on top of each other. One for the dashboard and one for the details view.
Great. And I will start working on it from tomorrow
Okay.
since I have a weekend.
Yeah. And I'll put in there who you should grant access to for the Figma. I think,
I will
or we,
create in my own account,
okay, cool.
and after you finalize the design, I will migrate it to your account.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's going to be most of the stuff that I had on my list for today. Like I said, I'm just getting back from being on a holiday and stuff, so trying to get my head back into things. I'm just looking through these issues real quick to see if there's one that pops out. No. Oh, and then I did see one other thing on how we want to handle domains and domain hierarchies. So domain hierarchies are like a folder structure, and right now we're using like uh, that graphing that you kind of click and drill down through the folder structure using the circle, the rings. Um, I don't know if that's gonna be the best way to go, and we may want to go back to just doing a tree view because that like a folder structure in Windows Explorer on that route. So that's one of the things that we may need to look at, and that would be more on a details view, anyways. So just something to put out there. All right. So Sasha, so Sasha
Yeah.
ran into an issue the other day with the his Raspberry Pis and the ARM processors.
Mm.
So any luck on trying that base image yet?
No, I actually broke my flux.
You
Um,
broke everything?
yeah, I broke it. I had to redo everything. Uh, it's just got it fixed now, actually. So I'm gonna be redeploying everything. It was
Cool.
actually a good test because it's all immutable. So all I do is add all my YAML files back, and everything should be back,
Yeah.
all configured and done. So I'll do that. I'm gonna be doing that now that it's fixed. But I did test it yesterday, just by doing a quick Helm install, and it gave me the same error. Didn't like the ARM image. So,
Yeah. So what Sasha's running into is his Raspberry Pi processor um, is 8.0, and the Amazon Linux base image that we're using expects ARM processor 8.2. So there's something weird in the glibc. I think it's glibc that's
hmm,
processor specific. And what I did was I found another Docker base image that it's hard to tell, but it may be using a different version of glibc when in that base image. So that's one of the things that we're trying to figure out. And once we get that figured out, then we can figure out how we actually build and roll that thing out.
yeah, I pasted it. It says the version. Why does it say Amazon Linux? Are we using a base image from Amazon? Are we using Amazon Linux?
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Amazon Linux. It's interesting. We used to use chain guards. Base images. They're the distroless type of images, so you could get like a distroless Python image and stuff like that. But some of our containers have extra tools that you can't, or extra libraries that you can't install very easily on those chain guard base images. Um, there's it's just impossible. So what I found was the Amazon Linux, the 2023 Amazon Linux is based on Fedora, and they're a nice clean version of Fedora with all the security patches that come out every couple weeks. They get patched, so they're a nice, clean, smaller base image to work from that has better library support without any of the vulnerabilities in it. So that's one of the reasons we went to it. And Python lives better on Fedora or Debian than versus Alpine or ChainGuard. The things you learn. You're on mute, Sasha, somehow.
Uh, is the image too new?
What was that?
Is the image, is it too new for my
Yeah, yeah. So the image is the
my
Amazon,
processor doesn't support it. Doesn't support
right?
8.2, only point. Okay.
Yeah. So I think
Okay.
it's Raspberry Pi 5 has the 8.2 CPU support, and it actually is the processor itself. When I was looking into it, certain processors have the 8.2 like chipset or whatever. But I think, like I said, there's another base image I think that we can use that will run on your 8.0 processor.
But they've got a firmware upgrade. Can you get one, or it's not like that?
I don't know. I don't know much about the how that works. If it's actually in the chip itself, or if
Yeah.
it's like you said, a firmware.
I found a Docker hub. Yeah. ARM64 V8 Debian on Docker.
Yeah.
Do
So
you want to
the,
use that? Are you going to use that, or is it something like that that we need to use?
there's a ARM64 V8 Amazon Linux on that as well on Docker Hub.
Okay. Okay. Can you support multiple images?
Well, that's yes. So that's once we figure out what which base image we need to do, then we'll have to change our build and our Helm charts to create an ARM 8.2 or an ARM 8.0, and then have the charts bring in the right one.
Okay, so you have an image for both stored at, at key.
Yeah, we'll just tag them differently. Is my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That makes sense.
So if you could try one of those ARM 64 V8s from Docker Hub and see if you could just run a Hello World or something like that on your Pi, then we can,
I can do that. That's a good idea.
and then we can see just a simple Hello World or something. We can then, if that works, then we know we have a pathway forward.
Okay. Cool.
So slight technical diversion here.
Yeah. The back end.
Yep.
Well, the actual infrastructure.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that there is that it was so chip specific for ARM.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, it's a new one for me too.
It was a good find.
Yeah. No, I was just running it, right? And then obviously my GitOps process told me, oh, there's a new version, and so it upgraded. And then I just saw scorecard going, just couldn't start, kept dying, right?
Yep.
And then so then I made the issue. I made the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, one thing in this way, we Sasa also find out about Gimlet with Flux CD, which is a better alternative than Argo CD.
Yeah. You have to you have to give us a report, Sasha. Which one you
I've
like
made
better?
a. Well, can we discuss just quickly?
Yeah.
Because it's actually quite interesting. Look, it might be my lack of knowledge completely, but I was trying to find a way, where I got stuck. My thinking was like, oh, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the provider, let's say Ortelius, right? I'm going
Yeah.
to take Ortelius' Helm chart. You've got a default values file, right?
Yeah.
Values.yaml for your Helm chart is just default. It's like installing the software vanilla. You haven't configured anything, right?
Right.
Same story. So I thought, oh, cool. I'll just use Argo to do this, and then I'll override the provider's default values with my values.yaml for my environment, obviously, because if I'm a company, Panga Rabbit is my fictitious company, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, for my company, I'm the CEO, of course. I do everything. And I don't have any money, of course. It's all self-funded. So I'm just going to override it, right? Using Argo CD. I tell Argo CD, hey, read this values. Don't read the values take that, deploy it, look at my values, and then override it. But Argo doesn't do that.
Really? I
Argo
thought
does
it
not,
did.
no, it doesn't do it. It kept on deploying default values all the time. No matter what I did, it would not override my values. So then I found this blog post, but oh my word, what a convoluted, crazy setup. Uh, anyway, I maybe needed to investigate. Like I said, I'm only one person. And I think you have to use a subchart. That's my only understand. My takeaway was I can make my own Helm chart, okay, for my microservices, then say, hey, I want you to use the provider's value, Helm chart for this as a dependency, and then you can read my values. Yeah, and I think Argo works like that. I think that's what I came away with my understanding. I don't know if I'm right though. That was my understanding. So I was like, this is really annoying
You
because I
know,
thought I
I
could
would,
just take, yeah,
because I thought Argo had this whole directory structure that you would, because you'd have like different YAML files for your different environments, like dev, test, and prod, and they would apply
yes,
different values files depending on where you're deploying
you
to.
can do that. Yeah, you can do that, but I couldn't get it. But the only thing, like I said, I came away with that when I looked at the environment I was working on in Germany, everything, they had their own microservices Helm chart, and all the providers was dependency or subcharts, right? Like dependencies on that
Right,
on that
right.
provider's default chart. Then you could use your own values files to override that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
because we have a,
yeah,
a parent chart and then all the subcharts, and
yeah.
and I'm trying to think if we even have a values file at the parent chart level. I don't think we
Mm.
do.
I made
So
one
like
for
it's
Affiliates for myself, and it works perfectly.
Yeah.
I can show you my
so
Argo CD configuration, just for other people also to understand what I was trying to do. And I
You know,
was using an Argo CD file, right? An Argo CD apps YAML file, and there you can specify a values file. So
yeah.
I thought, oh, cool, I'll specify the provider's URL to their Helm chart there, and then my Argo CD config file will just says, oh, but I must use this values file to override whatever comes through. But it wouldn't do that. It just wouldn't do it.
I would reach out to drop an email to Brad McCoy
Yeah, I'll ask Brad. He'll know.
since he's done a lot of work with the Argo stuff.
Yeah. So what I did was I switched to Flux, and
Oh,
now I can do whatever the hell I want.
interesting.
So easy.
And the
You know
weird
how
and the
easy
weird
Flux
part
is.
is I believe Argo's built on top of Flux.
Really? Flux is insanely easy, much easier to use. Like,
Interesting.
yeah. So that's my experience so far. But like I say, it might have been my lack of knowledge, right? I just like,
Yeah. Well, if you got
yeah.
Flux
'Cause
working, and it may not be worth going down another path for
I'll ask
debugging Argo.
Brad, because yeah, I'd like to understand, right? Why I was struggling there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just drop Brad an email and see if he has any thoughts without diving into debugging. Just say yes or no, this can be done, or if I'm totally
Yeah, I
missing
might
the
just,
boat somewhere.
because I thought, oh, logically, I can, it's like for me, it was just like the old school days, you got your software on your CD, and you
Yeah,
install it and it gets vanilla installed default. Why? It's the same thing to me, right?
yeah.
Right? So I get the default Helm chart, I install my software, and then I override it with my values to suit my environment. That's what I thought, but it didn't do that.
Huh.
Maybe I think so. Yeah. Maybe, and I had an Argo file to control it all, right?
Right,
So
right.
I could go further and get clever and say, if it's at this branch, use this values file. Or there's many ways of doing it. One way of doing it was using Git. Depending on the branch, use that values file depending on the branch you're on, right? You could do it that way.
Y-
Yeah, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Oh, interesting. Well,
yeah,
like I
interesting.
said, just I drop just Brad an email and see if he has any thoughts about it, and then just keep using Flux.
Yeah, I stumbled on Flux and Gimlet. So because Flux has a lot of people has UIs, but Gimlet is a UI actually for Flux. So I've completely trashed, well, not trashed it yet, but I'm going to be trashed, is the blog I wrote to deploy your own microservices to build, basically to build your own cloud at home. I've already written the blog. I just need some people to go over it and see if it makes sense.
Okay, where's that issue then?
It's still in my repo. I don't want to, I don't want to publish it yet until, I don't know, I'd like to just get I need some other humans, to give their point of view. Does it make sense? You don't even have to understand the tech yet. Just does it make sense? The way it flows. Does it,
Yeah, yeah.
and some
Drop
suggestions.
the link to what you want reviewed back in the Discord channel again in the general,
Okay, I'll put it in general. I'll put it
and
in
just
dev, but maybe people just didn't see it.
yeah, just put it in
Yeah,
general and say I'm looking for somebody to review this blog post to see if it makes sense.
yeah, I'll put it in this chat too. Here it is. This is you have your own GitOps at home. Yeah,
And
because
is
it's all
that
part of
one?
Ortelius.
And is that using Flux or Argo?
Yeah, Flux. No,
Flux.
it's no other.
All
All
right,
Flux.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool.
Flux is great, eh? It's amazing because it does what I want.
Yeah,
It adds Git repos easily. You can easily add Git repos. It's so easy. It just uses SSH, a key, right, which is nice and secure.
yeah.
Then Flux has got a Helm controller, so it's like,
Oh,
okay,
perfect. Yeah,
perfect, right? Helm controller, man. Now I can do anything. I can just tell it I want that, and it goes cool, it does it.
yeah.
Thanks. No mess, no fuss. It's so well done, Flux, and their documentation is extremely good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just a few pages here.
Look, you
I'll
know me, eh?
I'll do some light reading this weekend and look at this.
See, just don't fall asleep behind the wheel, eh? When you're reading. Look, it's detailed, eh? Because I don't know everyone's level, right? So I want to make sure that people understand this stuff, right? I don't want people to
Yeah,
feel excluded, or
yeah,
it's like when you ask people about finances, only the financial people know what's going on. I have no clue what they're talking about. So I don't want people to feel like that, right? All that, to use an example.
And what
Yeah.
is this going to the Raspberry Pi cluster, or is it going to like a
Yeah.
Kind or a
No,
K3s?
I'm using Micro K8.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm using Micro K8 because you don't have to worry about etcd.
Yeah.
It's using a type of high availability SQL. What's it called? What's that little SQL that I can't remember now. Everyone uses it for development, man. Not
The
it's like a
K3s.
very what does K3s use? That uses etcd, doesn't it?
That is the one from Rancher.
Yeah, so Micro K8 uses DSQL, which is actually high available. I can't remember the name now. I can't believe it.
Oh,
Um,
maybe is it a Mongo database?
no, it's everyone uses this, man. It's like they it's they
Oh,
called it DQ Lite, but it's actually SQLite.
oh, SQLite. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
SQLite, but it's high availability. You've got high
yeah,
availability immediately with your database. All of them act as there's no such thing as a master. They all act together. So depending which server you hit and change, it'll replicate it immediately.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So everybody, put on your to-do list to review Sasha's document. Um, And
The only piece of
let's
humor in there is the tiny green mole wizard,
and
which
just
is
go
a
ahead
rant.
and how do you want them to get back to you for updates if they find anything that needs to be changed? Just on Discord?
Yeah, well, you know me, I'm always filling up some channel somewhere on Nautilus. That's why I stay out of the general channel.
Yeah. So message Sasha directly.
You can just chuck it in social channel, I think.
Yep,
There's a
social will
social
work.
channel. Yeah, social.
Or I can create a new channel.
Yeah. What, a Sasha channel, so that I
Yeah,
don't spam everybody around the world.
there you go.
Yeah, shame.
And let me know whatever you
Yeah,
like.
we'll have to buy some more servers on Discord just to handle Sasha's spam.
That's why I have my own server and talk to myself.
We
All
have a GitOps channel also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just make sure if you just tag Sasha in the message,
Yeah,
and
just
it'll
take a look
pop
for
up
it.
in any channel.
I'm just waiting for the guy from Gimlet to come back from holiday for him to also have a review before I publish it, because I just want to make sure I get the nuances between cloud and self-hosted right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Alrighty, excellent. Anything else? We ran over a little bit today.
Yes, I know it's me, a bit late.
All right. Well, Sasha, on your to-do list is to try one of those ARM64 V8 images on your Raspberry Pi. And if you look out in that Docker Hub, you'll see there's an Amazon Linux 2023
Hmm,
out there.
cool. And just one more
Yep.
thing. Now I can probably use the default GitLab Helm chart, but override it with an ARM container.
Yep. Yep.
Because that's what took me down this path, right? I was trying to override and I couldn't do it. That's what Argo wouldn't do. It would not override no matter what I did.
Yep. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
All right. Cool.
Cool.
Anything else? All right. Thanks everybody for coming in today. Like I said, make some comments on Sasha's doc. And Arvin, I will get that issue created and assign it to you for the Figma, and we'll go from there. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Does it even flow nicely, right? The doc. That's all. Does it make sense? Cool.
Cool. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.